The third mistake that married women make is the mistake of familiarity. Hey, and this one, everybody is guilty, even me. Even me. Let me tell you the truth now. Even me. And you know why? It's so easy to fall into that sin of familiarity or that mistake, because you are the one person that sees your husband at his lowest, when he's in his boxers, when he has not brushed his teeth, when he has not had a bath. So he can be a king outside, but when he comes, he's just a boy. You know, just a boy. So you've seen him at his weakest, when he's sick and is crying like a baby, or when you've seen him at every single point, as in, like Nigerians would say, that's not to see finish. You know, and that's exactly what happens. A lot of times, because you've been married to this man for a while, you've seen every side to him, then you forget that you should honor him as your king and as your husband. So you speak to him anyhow, he annoys you, shout at him, things you would probably not do before you got married. When you get married, you say, what? I've been managing it since, so I can't take it anymore. No. It's a huge mistake. You know why? Because respect is one of the major needs of every man. Every single man needs respect. Every man wants to be the king of his castle. And the truth is, the king must be venerated. He must be worshipped. Anytime, every single man that I know, every single man wants to be king of his castle. So you can't tell a man in his own house, you just come and you're shouting at him, screaming at him. Every man wants to be treated like a king. And I've learned that if you treat a man like a king, he will treat you like a queen. So most times, because we feel that this man, I've lived with him since now, I know him, I can talk to him, we forget that God is the one watching when it comes to marriage. Let me give you an example. When I learned this lesson early in marriage. My husband did something, I think it was the first year. Yeah, must have been the first year of our marriage. My husband did something, I can't remember what it was, but it mustn't have been anything too serious. But I was upset. So I went to my prayer room and I was praying. Okay, let me be honest. I was supposed to be praying. I was complaining. So I was there complaining. God, I'm not going to take this. And I don't know if it was the first time. Maybe the first time in our marriage, I literally heard the audible voice of God. How dare you? How dare you? It's because I gave you my son. I ran out, I've told this story many times. I ran out of the bedroom like somebody was chasing me. I'm like, what? It's like, you must treat him with honor. Do you understand, first of all, that this is your man of God? I said, okay, see why I don't want to marry pastor. I don't like problem. But I learned over time that no matter how angry I am with my husband, he can attest to this. No matter how angry I am with my husband, I must first treat him with honor and with respect. I have never, in the 15 years we've been married, I have never raised my voice at him. Has he done things that have annoyed me? Yes. Has he done things that make me even want to disrespect him? Of course. Has he made things that make me want to humiliate him? Are you kidding me? If you're a married woman, you know that you've experienced every side to a man. There are times where you just want to just press him and let him just press him, you know. They can be very annoying, to be honest. I can't lie to you. And the truth is that even though he's all these things, he's still my head. He's still my pastor. I tell women every time, you must learn to respect your husband the same way you would respect your pastor. A lot of women who, I'm talking Christian women now, you know, a lot of Christian women respect their pastors. No matter what the pastor says, they will say, yes, sir. They will kneel down, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. They will, you know, literally be bowing and, you know, literally almost worshiping the pastor. Meanwhile, when you get home, your husband says something, you shout at him disrespectfully that what? You are talking. But this is your own pastor at home. You know, so the same way you would honor your pastor, you should honor your husband the same way. Same way you honor your father, you honor your husband the same way. My husband is my pastor, so some other women have it easy. When you're angry with your husband, you can literally scream at him. I dare not. He's my pastor, first of all, before he's my husband. So I try very hard not to forget that. Even in the Bible, there's this story that should keep all of us on our toes. The story of Esther doesn't start from Esther. It starts from a queen called Vashti. Now, Queen Vashti was married to the king, and the king was in charge of all the nations in the east. He was such a great king, King Ahasuerus. He was such a great king. And so he was throwing a banquet, and he had thrown his banquet for days, months, you know. So his wife too was throwing her own banquet. I mean, she was a queen in her own right. So in her palace, she was hosting her own parties. And then the king sent for her. And she sent a message back to him that she's not coming. At first, I read that story the way everyone reads the story. I just read it like, and she said she's not coming. The king got angry and said, oh, he wants another. And then the wise men advised him, get another wife, banish Vashti, because if other women see that they can treat the king like that, they will all think they can treat their husbands like that. So the king banished her, and after a while, he was sad he did, but he wanted a new wife. They just said, let's bring Esther, and Esther replaced Vashti. I've read that story many times, and I read it like, oh, in favor of Esther, that God just wanted favor of Esther. Listen. If Vashti did not misbehave, there would be no position for Esther. Esther would have married somebody else. And maybe God would have given her someone of honor. But Vashti misbehaved. Vashti, it was this, you know, that familiarity. She too had gotten to the point where me too, I'm a queen. The king is sending for me too, I'm a queen, so I can decide. No. No. The king made up his mind at that point to replace her. So your husband may not replace you by marrying another wife, but he may replace you in his heart. So he's not talking to you about very important things. He's not talking to you about sensitive things. You now notice that he's talking more to his friends. He's talking to his brothers. He's talking to his siblings. He's talking to his extended other family members, but he's not talking to you. Check your heart. If you have been treating him with disrespect, a man will simply log out. If he's even a good man, he might not marry someone else. I know some evil men that will just move on. They will Vashti you, banish you, and go and look for an Esther, one small fine girl that they can just replace you with. I'm trusting God that your husband is not that kind. But I'm talking about men who are even Christian and godly. They will just log out. They say anything they want to tell you, shout at them, talk to them anyhow. Men hate disrespect. And that is the mistake married women make. They disrespect their husbands constantly. No matter how annoying your husband is, no matter what you want to tell him, there must be a way you can tell him respectfully and prayerfully. Okay.